That's it, folks. Next year is going to be incredible.
And I just want to say I did this for my grandfather. I finally did it. And, you know, I got that dog in me, so I'm going to make sure I get those plays right every single time.
Fuck the haters. Respect my fucking name. I'm the best player in this game.
Best player!
This was a top-tier matchup between the Kings of APAC and the underdogs from North America, and the matchup did not disappoint. Map 1 could have been stolen by PaperX at any point during the first half, but Calm was having none of it. He made some amazing clutches that no one expected, not even Potter, but the half would end at 7-5 PaperX. Because of Calm's insane clutches, EG were able to mount a comeback the next half and take Ascent 13-10. Map 2 started out with the same energy for EG on Bind, Calm and Demon 1 being the main force behind the first half. Jing responded by having an amazing map, putting up a 22-16-4, stepping up when something dropped the ball, and took a 7-5 deficit at half and turned it into a 13-9 finish, winning back-to-back rounds after round 15. The final map was Pearl, and Ethan once again pulled a Yoru and delivered, winning the first round with a 4K and playing the ult as a counter to the Viper's Pit and using it as recon utility. Everyone in this map played incredible. Demon 1, Mindfreak, Jojimo, Forsaken really played well, and it was just consecutive rounds being exchanged. The first 3 to EG, the next 6 to PaperX, 3 in the end of the half for EG to tie it up. Then we had 5 in a row from EG. PaperX responded with 5 in a row to tie it up again, and then each team won a round respectively to send it into overtime. Once again, both teams won their attack round, but PaperX closed it out to send themselves to the grand finals. As for EG, they would have to face the winner of Fnatic and Loud to play in the lower finals. To say that I was biased for this match is an understatement. I wanted Loud to win so bad, well, mostly because I'm Brazilian. Not sure that I've ever said this here, but I truly believe dynasties are bad for sports. Just look at the times where the Patriots were the dynasty in the NFL, no one except Boston and bandwagon fans were happy. Regardless, I knew this was going to be a tough matchup for both teams, and boy did the first map prove me wrong. Loud dominated Split. It was like watching pre-2023 Fnatic out there. 13-4 was nasty to see happen. After that, I thought it would be wraps for Fnatic because Ascent is the home map of Loud. But Fnatic proved to be a thorn on the side of Loud, and they had a competitive opening half with Fnatic being behind 5-7. Fnatic would then take the lead in the second half after winning 4 in a row. Loud would try to rebound by winning 2 more, but Fnatic would not go so easily and won the remainder of the rounds to send us to map 3. On Haven, Loud managed to get a head start on Fnatic 4-1, but Fnatic regrouped after a timeout by Mini, winning the next 3 and tying it up to 4-4. But Loud took the following 4 rounds to gain a substantial lead, 8-4. The momentum that Loud had after the half seemed to be a bit too much for Fnatic, because despite winning the pistol round, Fnatic looked shaken. Loud would win rounds 15 and 16, and Fnatic would then win the next one, and dropped the rest of the rounds after round 17. And just like that, the dynasty crumbled before our eyes. Fnatic had the best year of any organization. The roster they built here may be the best roster in the history of Valorant. The fact that they have only been defeated by 2 teams is a statement to that. Alpha, in my opinion, is the player of the year. The dude is incredible and insane. And I truly believe that Fnatic has the other 4 best players in the EMEA region. As far as contracts, Leo, Chronicle, and Durka have contracts until 2025, and Boaster and Alpha have contracts until 2024. Which month is unknown. I highly doubt that this roster makes any changes during the offseason. Winning 2 of the 3 main events, placing 2nd in EMEA and 4th in Champions is a clear sign that you are in the elite status of Valorant history. A very unpredictable game between 2 teams who are considered elite. Loud having the lower bracket run, eliminating audience favorites, and EG, who have let everyone know that their run isn't a Cinderella run anymore. They have beaten some of the best teams in the world. Ascent was a fantastic map, with no team having too much of an advantage. Les and Demon 1 were the top fraggers for their respective teams, and although EG seemed to have secured it by round 22 with an Ethan 3k, Loud managed to send it into overtime. Jojimo would have a 3k in round 25 and a 2k in round 26 alongside Demon 1 to win map 1. On Lotus, things were far less competitive between EG, as they managed to run away with the game 13-4, and things were not looking good for Loud. Map 3 was Pearl, and Loud came out swinging with a 9-3 lead at the half. But symptoms of the curse would show up, and EG won 5 out of the next 6 rounds. But Loud doesn't believe in curses, and closed it out 13-8. On Split, an almost identical story would happen, and Loud would win the map 13-7. And now we have a sudden death map. The winner goes to grand final, and the loser leaves with nothing except some money. EG on Bind would win the first 5 rounds, then Loud would win 2, and after trading back-to-back rounds, Loud would try to catch up with EG with a 5-7 scoreline at the half. Unfortunately, Loud would collapse on the attack and manage to win only 3 rounds, never gaining the lead and losing round 21 of Bind. Loud came back from one of their worst performances at a Masters event ever, and looked just as good as they did at Lock-In and VCT Americas. They are one of only 2 teams to beat Fnatic, and despite some of their backstage drama, they seem to have found some synchronicity with each other once again. Fraud in the post-match conference would go on and say that the team needs to improve, and it is not by changing the roster, but sticking together and working out the mistakes. From what I can tell, this is entirely in the hands of Aspas. The man is the final boss, for good reason. He is the MVP of America's League, so him wanting to get paid is only natural. Esports is currently in a recession, and I'm not sure anyone will dish out any crazy amounts of money, but I can assure you there will be a bidding war for Aspas. Before we go into the main event, let's talk about all the announcements that were made for Valorant coming up. Let's go from least important to most important. The new changes to Breeze are coming, removing Cave, a rework of Mid, and a rework of B-Site. The map's changes overall are better than they were in my opinion, because Breeze was way too open the last time we saw it in the competitive pool. Speaking of the competitive pool, we were giving the introduction to the new map, Sunset, where Brim is stopping a kingdom operation, and the previous tension between Deadlock and Gecko gets resolved as they announce the new map for the next act. Sunset, a 2-site map based on Los Angeles, and the rework of Breeze and the new map Sunset are set to replace Pearl and Fracture. A couple days before, we got the reveal of the 2024 VCT schedule and the announcement of both Masters events. This year, we'll start out with a competitive split in EMEA, Pacific, Americas, and China to qualify for Masters 1, which will take place in Madrid. Following Masters Madrid, we will have a second split to qualify for Masters Shanghai. Then we will have Masters Shanghai, and after that, there will be a third regional event to qualify for Champions. But throughout the year, there will be championship points, which is similar to the championship qualification standards of pre-partnership VCT. And the biggest announcement of all is that China will now be a partnered region in VCT. I will cover all the challenger stuff in a separate video, as this involves Premier, rules, partnership teams, and a lot of other jargon that I don't really want to discuss in this video. On the final day, we got some really cool stuff like interviews with content creators, pros, and people from Riot Games. And we got the cinematic and revealed the new map, Sunset. The show started off with an opening ceremony, and good lord did they go all out for this opening. They debuted a new song called Reignition, then transitioned into Karamit's Die For You, which transitioned into Ticking Away, and tied it up with the 2 teams facing off, EG and Paper Rex. My favorite shot from the whole thing was when the Champions Trophy descended into center stage, really highlighting what we were all here to watch. Let me tell you, if this is what the skins are funding, then I will keep buying them, because this opening was a celebration of the entire VCT season, wrapped up by a beautiful ceremony, the video packages, and obviously, the final game. Golden Boy introduced the teams in the most pro wrestling voice in the entire event. He was like doing a Triple H promo out there. Then we transition to the final video package of the event. Jing delivered a really heartfelt message saying he was going into the military after this year and that he was happy to have played. Then, EG's roster talk about the struggles they faced all year with the doubts, the haters, and the shortfalls. Paper Rex talks about their shortcomings after Masters Copenhagen and how if Jing wins this trophy, it would be the best ending of this iteration of Paper Rex. Split would start out strong for Paper Rex. EG won the pistol round, but Paper Rex turned it around by winning 3 in a row. Paper Rex would then win 4 in a row to have an 8-4 lead. The lead would not last very long, as EG found themselves winning the pistol round, losing the bonus, and then winning 6 in a row and closing out the map. Demon 1, Jajimo showed their prowess by having insane stats. Demon 1 with 27, 14, and 1, and Jajimo with a whopping 25, 15, and 5. Ascent proved to be more competitive, as Paper Rex started with winning the first 4 rounds, then winning 1 for every 2 to EG. That got us at a 7-5 half, with Paper Rex leading. Something and Devi had to put up Demon 1 and Jajimo level numbers to close out what was a second map where EG looked to make a comeback. And Paper Rex did. Something had a 25, 15, and 2 on Reyna, and Devi on KO had a scoreline of 24, 14, and 13. So whilst they really saved the map, they really had to step it up in the next map in order to get the lead on the series. Bind looked to be anyone's map, as both teams had looked good in this map previously. That is until we got it to the Agent Select, and Paper Rex pulled an old comp from the Benkai days, and had Breach, Yoru, Brim, Sky, and Raze. And boy did this not result in what they wanted. No one had a positive KD on Paper Rex's side, and Forsaken could not find any value from Yoru, and Jing was nowhere to be seen. He had an awful game 11-17. Paper Rex would have to play the series at a point disadvantage. Lotus started off very competitive, with a pistol round going to Paper Rex. Then EG would win rounds, and then Paper Rex would trade them back, and back and forth they would go with each other until we got a 7-5 half in favor of EG. The weird thing here is that Lotus is such an attack-sided map with large amounts of rotations that this would have been the perfect map for Paper Rex to have a sizable lead. But EG were playing so well that they were able to counter all of Paper Rex's attacks. This, unfortunately, would result in so much pressure being put on Paper Rex that they were unable to handle Evil Geniuses on the defense, only putting up 3 rounds and ending their run, ending Jing's career in another upset. Something really only showed up on the Ascent map, and Jing played like the pressure got to him again. It's really sad. I feel like we went through Masters Copenhagen again, but this time it's considerably worse. There is no second chance for this team. Jing is done with Paper Rex, as he is going into military service, and Something has alluded to the fact that he might be open to go to a different team. Paper Rex had a roller coaster of a year, from losing at lock-in and making roster changes to winning VCT Pacific and placing 3rd at Masters Tokyo. They have changed the expectations of Paper Rex fans. Not sure what the future holds for Paper Rex, but I know that they gave everything they had this year, and walking away with the VCT Pacific is hell of an accomplishment in and of itself. And Evil Geniuses, they have done it. They have had the greatest turnaround I have ever seen in sports. They started off being the laughingstock of the partnership teams when they made no flashy or clouded moves. They were questioned when they signed a 10-man roster because it was unconventional. They were made fun of because they had a rough start to the season, and when the fan base was at its lowest point. You know how they responded? They ignored all the noise and they focused on themselves, bringing in Demon 1, improving game by game, and when fate handed them a bone, they ran with it. They didn't look back and only got better and better. 3rd at VCT Americas, 2nd at Masters Tokyo, and now the Valorant Champions of 2023. This year's VCT was awesome. We got a lot of stories from EG turning their season around to Kang and EDG being the most popular team, the collapse of NRG, the crew LCQ run, and so much drama in between. Topping it off with some amazing games in the regular season and at international events. I'm excited for next season's VCT and all the changes it has in store. I want to thank everyone who watches these videos. This all started with me making fun of some America's teams, and now it's turned into coverage for everything VCT related. I will continue the coverage of off-season topics and roster mania, but the big videos might take a bit longer to cook up as I want to make them special for you guys. Once we head back into the VCT season, you can expect a new haters guide for every region before the actual international events start. Until then, thank you for watching and have a nice day.